Tom here. So I was going to talk about, the importance of making a plan. Every day I've talked about it a lot in the past. One of the things I've been good about that I think's been really important to my success has been getting up early and making a plan every day. Putting down a set of goals and then kind of knocking them out. Uh, you know, hey, you make a plan every day. You'll never be looking for anything to do because you'll have plenty to do if you keep knocking things down that you need to get out of the way. And I understand how sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think about everything that maybe that you need to do. Yeah, I'll put this on my list. Get better phone service. Get a better phone. Anyways, I'm gonna put my glasses on. I can't even read everybody. Liam, for some reason, I don't have much trouble reading his name. So, but yeah, I was gonna just say the power of making a plan. I can tell you, it was a long time ago. And I've always done this, but I would get up about 4:30, 5 a.m. I still wake up that early. I have to make myself lay back down for an hour sometime just to get up at 5:30. But what I was going to say is the power of putting something down in writing. Just the fact that you wrote it down, it kind of puts it in the back of your head all day, even if you don't look at it twice, or maybe you put down the things you want to get done, like maybe some long-term stuff, but the short-term stuff you got to write down. Look, like knock this out, knock this out, knock this out. And a lot of times late in the day, when you go, well, I could knock off early, but no, take care of one more of those things on your list, and maybe it'll put you a little later than, it'll make you late getting home or whatever you got to do. But you're getting somewhere, right? If you're getting to your goals, right? I mean, I'll tell you something. There's a thing called daytimers. Okay, this is before the cell phones and all that sort of thing, or before the smartphones. So I had a daytimers booklet, could be this thin, and that could be a year, or it could be this thick, and that could be for 6 months. That's what mine was. It was this thick, and that was just for 6 months because I had 2 pages per day. And I would write in there, and I had a cabinet shop, and I had people working for me. But the wonderful thing about it, the daytime, is you put everything in writing. So you go, okay, I got these appointments, and for me it would be like going to measure a house, or meeting a contractor and trying to get him to give me the job, that sort of thing. But in the back of that book, where I kept all the contacts, the phone numbers, I'd write, this is the 80s, right? This is the 80s. I had all that, but I would write a place where I'd have my goals. And I remember writing, and I kind of almost didn't remember writing it, but I had, in the back there, I'd write, random pages that were kind of open and empty, that had nothing to do with the calendar. I'd write, long-term goals like buy a house, buy a Porsche, buy a building, buy another property, buy another of this and that and the other. And so, but then I just kind of forget it's in the back of the book. And then every year I would pull out the guts of that, or every half year I'd pull out the guts of that 6 months and put in another 6 months of blank that would be the coming months. And when I'd go through, I have 10 years of those, of that stuff, because that's what I used the daytimers for about 10 years. And I remember somebody had told me all about it. I can't remember who it was now, but he didn't tell me how important it was. This is back in the early 80s. And so I'd write this stuff down, and one day I'm going through, my daytimer, and I'm, this is probably, maybe it was almost when I stopped using the daytimer because, I had the alternative, the phone and thing. And I still like writing stuff down, though. I still do write down, but I don't have to keep this book around with me all the time. But I went back there and I looked, and I think I still have this. I'll share it with you guys sometime. But I had actually drawn a picture of a Porsche. I drew a picture of a Porsche, but on my list it said, get a Porsche, get a building, buy a home to live in, because I'd gone through several homes already, but none that were something I'd want to live in. They were money makers, but I didn't live in them. And So I look down there and I'm going, yeah, I've already, not only, I was looking at the Porsche, I'd already bought, enjoyed, and sold a Porsche. And I'm going, I don't even remember writing this down. But the fact that I wrote it down, it just kind of impressed upon me that, you know, that writing down your goals really makes a difference. Because, like I said, not only had I bought I've already had the Porsche. It's not that I had a Porsche. I've already bought it and I'd sold it. That's how far back I was looking back. The building, I bought several buildings. I had, buy another building. So I already owned one building. Said buy another building. So it was definitely on the list. And this is the funniest thing. Check this out. I got these wasps. This is a new property I bought. Look at them. Look at them crawling that hole. These guys are nuts, man. These wasps are so tough. I think you saw that. These wasps they'll crawl into an oven if you let them. The heat doesn't bother them at all. It's a trip. But back to what I was saying is, so look at, and I know this, I'm 61 years old now. So you, just like writing your stuff down, do something. Get something done that gets you closer to your goal. That could mean if you have trouble savings, put a little bit of money to the side. I was telling somebody that I used to put money to the side and I wouldn't put it in, like, you have your bank. I had two banks I always kind of used. I would put money aside in a bank that I don't use. I just opened up another bank account at another bank. And I would, I threw, I don't know, I probably threw 10 grand in there originally. But there was a point in time where I actually had put aside, like, I don't know if I had 400 grand or 800 grand, but I put aside quite a bit of money. Now, this is at a time when I was making money. And I kind of put then, it was like, I got to concentrate on doing what I'm doing to be the most productive, making money, which is also hard to do sometimes. A lot of people are good at stuff. I'll give you an example. Jack Black, right? We all know Jack Black, the actor. Well, he loves music, right? He's got a band. He sings, he plays guitar, but that's not his moneymaker. His moneymaker is Jack Black, the actor, right? And so, he's got what he loves, and I'm not saying he doesn't love acting, but he loves the music, but he knows that that's not where the money is. So he puts his emphasis in the acting, makes a bunch of money, and then in between he does what he loves, and really that's what is kind of a good way for everybody to operate. Is you know always do what you do to make money. I make money in real estate. I'm an investor, and that's the number one thing that I do right is invest. It's the thing that has, I could say, bailed me out or given me, cash to play with, other things. I've jumped into other business endeavors, and some that didn't do so well, others that did pretty well. But it was the money from the real estate that fed that. And, and there was a couple things I realized, you know what? I just got to stick to the real estate. And when when I threw money into, say, a business or something that wasn't doing so well, it's like, all right, back to the drawing board, or back to work, which is double down on my real estate investing. It's just the opportunities of making money with real estate. There's just nothing like it. And what do you got here, Doug Guido? Build your asset base. Yeah. Yeah, well, get your skills too. Hey, John, Doug, glad you're here. Liam, you too. But, and Liam knows, and I know Liam kind of just went back to work doing some stuff too. And, it's just healthy. And it's, sometimes you can have an opportunity to make money and then it kind of evaporates, like, whatever, like we're going into tough times here. Some people tougher than others. I'm not saying ever stop investing, but what's kind of cool about right now is that all the people that think they know what they're doing are kind of having a realization that they didn't necessarily know what they were doing. They were just buying in an ascending market. A lot of fake gurus as well. You can see a lot of these fake gurus now. they've gone from selling the real estate stuff to now they're, God, what did I see Ryan Pineda doing? Ryan Pineda's like, here, build your studio, we'll shoot your video and we'll help you. I mean, he's changed gears drastically. That kid's been all over the place. And he's a nice kid, I'm sure, nice guy. But, and you can't help it. If somebody thinks they know what they're doing because they've had a little bit of success, uh, they let it go to their head. They're extrapolating the success that they had in a very short window, and to think that they have this much, success or this much experience, and they don't. But it's, I think it's good that people can see that. People can see when you see people changing gears, you have to give it a second thought. Like, why is this guy going from real estate to whatever franchises and all this gimmicky shit? Uh, you know, uh, it's just silly. But back to the purpose of this call: put your goals down, cut your overhead. Especially right now, we're going into tough times, and even if you're not affected by these downturn with your job or your income, inflation is hurting you as well. But the other thing is, it doesn't hurt. It just doesn't hurt to realign and start saving. I mean, really saving when you have money coming in, taking the steps to cut your overhead even further, to make you that's even smarter. Because a lot of us, listen, everybody cuts their overhead when times are tough because they have to, but doing it on your own before tough times, that's like saving for a rainy day, right? You're thinking ahead. That's one of the smartest things you can do. And go back to what I was saying. Putting money aside, like I was, I put, God, I think it seems like I had about 800 grand, but I just say 400 for now. But I know I had 400 in that account, and I was busy, and then an opportunity came, and I thought, and I've done this many times, by the way. I go, because I have a high standard for making money, so I'm patient. So I'm always looking, always looking, always looking. And just like if I'm fishing, if there's a little nibble, I mean, I look at everything. But when something is really good there, I set the hook. And then it's like, okay, now I got this something big on the line here, and then it's like, you know what? Let me go check that bank account. And I check over, and it's like, holy crap, there's 400 grand I got put away. And yeah, that'll take care of what I need to do to buy this piece of property. Uh, and and this could be 40 grand, it could be 5 grand, it could be 10 grand or $1,000, depending on where you're at financially. Doesn't matter. When you put money to the side, you have options that other people don't have. You can buy now, you can pay cash. I don't care if it's for a car, or it could be some sort of device that has value to somebody else. Listen, Flip Anything USA. I call it Flip Anything USA because when I was a kid, I bought and sold all kinds of stuff, before I could even get into real estate. Cars, motorcycles, tools, and then when I built a cabinet shop, I bought equipment for myself, but sometimes I bought more than I needed, because I got it so cheap, and then I'd sell it to somebody else because I knew the value of the equipment. When you know value, it's a tremendous advantage over everybody around you. And I've gone into auctions, by the way, and I've watched people buy a used piece of equipment for, half again what it cost brand new. They get caught up into the, the excitement, or the, whatever, the competitiveness. Of course, they lose. It's that fear of missing out that destroys people. The fear of missing out with having, without using their head. And so let's see who else commented here. Oh, hey, Chris. Good to see you in here, buddy. Uh, yeah, inflation is killing people, man. Uh, uh, yeah. Chris is in the class, and he's just got another great deal. Uh, anyways, but so those of you that are interested in getting your toes wet in the real estate, Listen, there's a lot of terrible choices out there. I'm aware of it. I've seen people do it. I had a young guy on the other day, and I, and it sounds like it sounds like a Pace Morby thing. But there's this new language coming out of the Pace Morby people, the followers. Go giver, something I'd never heard. I'm a go getter. Okay, if you want to give, fine. I'm gonna get. Okay, I'm a getter. But then, and this guy was talking about. He sounded like he was in a program where he can loan money to other people for the earnest money for what they're going to buy, and or maybe it's a sub two thing. I don't know, but what was described sounded absolutely idiotic. Uh, Loaning money to somebody you don't know to, and they try not to call it lending, I guess, because you don't, it's a nice way of saying, here, yeah, we're going to have your money, but it's not a loan because you're going to get it back. I mean, I don't know the details on it, but the bottom line is so much of that sub two stuff, by the way, it creates a situation where you have to have a long term arrangement with other people that you normally would never even have to ever look at again, which in itself is a pain in the ass and it can set you up for disaster. And believe me, the first property I bought was basically a sub two. So don't think I don't know anything about sub two. I do know, but I know that the way it's being marketed by some people is that it's much different than the reality, and that I wouldn't want to see anybody happen. Oh, thank you, Chris, and some nice things here. Tom's best real estate mentor. He's personally benefited from my years of experience, many deals under his mentorship. Yep, and Chris did. Chris quit his job, and Chris is a great story because Chris is making about double, at least in 6 8 months, he's made double than what his previous job was paying, which he quit his job to become a full time investor, and he did it with less money than most of you probably think you need to do it with, and so two deals, he's still got the rest of the year, and he's made more money than he made in his job, and it's a wonderful thing. And listen, I wish I had a mentor when I was younger. I wish I had a mentor. Everything I share and teach is from 41, 42 years of experience, and and because I can look back in hindsight and I go, you know what, this is what I should have done. This is what I should have done. And now I tell everybody, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is what I would do had I had the chance, to go back in time. And listen, I used to read. I've never been somebody. I used to read Greek mythology. I don't know why. I love the fights and the things and the overcoming the obstacles. I always enjoyed that. But other than that, you know, I've always been a nonfiction reader. Everything I've read has always been business, you know, personal productivity. All the Zig Ziglar stuff. I don't know why I didn't find out about Jim Rohn till later in life, but I love Jim Rohn. I think he's the best. And if you're watching, go look up Jim Rohn, Rohn. Fantastic motivator, fantastically wealthy man, but and really just about being personally productive and doing things. Look at this bird I got up here looking down on me. No, he's already gone. It's been pretty. I got like a nature preserve here. I got skunks. The other day I was walking out having coffee and I heard kind of a weird grumbling. I turned around and I got like 12 raccoons, like a whole whatever flock of them, and they saw me and turned around. I walked up to a fox last night. I got all kinds of wildlife around me, but anyways, Jim Rohn. But I also read. In other words, and this is the beauty of the mentorship, by the way. If you're lucky enough to get in my mentorship, and I say that because I don't let everybody in. It's not about money. It's about, do you have the capacity? Do you have the right mindset? Meaning, are you productive? Are you going to work? Are you serious about making money? But I have the best group of people. I have the smartest people that you'll find in any class. You'll never see any of the ridiculous comments coming out of my students that you see from others, and these some people are just absolutely juvenile, and it's not even that they're juvenile; they're just inexperienced. But some of them It's like when somebody takes a strong stance politically and they got like zero life experience. Well, some of these guys, this strong stance about this tiny little bit of information that they've learned, and they're like standing on like as if they think. Listen, the smartest thing you can do is when you admit to yourself that you don't know. Smartest people are the ones that go, I don't know, I don't know, and then they listen, and then they listen. But other people get this much information, and they're like, oh, I know. Those are the biggest fools. But anyways, but I was going to say is, I was really wonderful. A 3 hour mentorship class, which is standard for me on Saturdays, and but the group is so fantastic. I got people making millions of dollars, multiple people making multiple millions now, and other people making their first 100 grand or first $500,000, and some of them have already been in here, popped in, and but everybody's different, and we're all over the country, all over the USA, and even outside of the USA, and and I got Just Robert out there that's in Portugal, which, yeah, write me, Robert. I want to do something for you. He's been a fantastic student. I feel like he's in the class and he should be in the class, and I want to get you in the class. So, but the where I'm going with this is it's just a melting pot of successful people now in my class, and people that were smart to begin with. Everybody's smart when they got in my class, anyways. Everybody was bright, and I mean, I have some people that had never owned anything, other had already been successful. I had people join my class that had been investing in real estate for 20, 30 years, and they wanted to know about a specific aspect of commercial, industrial, or whatever they, because I've got a pretty broad experience. Been done just about everything there is, everything you drive by every day. That's pretty much what I know. And that's why I am such a relevant mentor for so many, is because I still buy the kinds of properties that most of you watching can afford. It's a big difference. But anyways, back to the melting pot of success there in the class. I've got people that are making money so many different ways, some in ways that I've never made money. But they bring it to the table and they share it for other people to go, hey, you know what? And you sometimes there's things you'll hear about that aren't relevant to your area, and then you hear other things that are super relevant to your area, and then you can take advantage of that, and you would have never seen it otherwise. It's like if you've ever if you ever traveled to another state, you know and maybe you had some sort of cuisine that isn't even in your town, and you realize, oh man, people would love this in my town. In New York it was Mexican food. In California, it's like they didn't know what real barbecue was. So you visit Texas and you're going, hey, we can do this in California. There's different stuff like that. And so, anyways, it's just best to keep your eyes open, look around, and but hey, number one, make a plan. Make a plan every morning. Make a plan. You have things you can knock out that day, knock them out. Add more onto your list, and don't work your list down to nothing. That list should always be full, because there's always something to replace. You know what I mean? If you're goal oriented and you want to be productive, just keep adding to the list. Anyways, I'll let y'all go. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll see y'all later.